Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. It's the 13th of the 12th month of the year of your Lord 2016. Susan!
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Really?
Well, it's cold here, but otherwise I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
So, you haven't, gotten a coat or anything for your Ernie, have you?
No, he has a fur coat on.
Thank you very much. But, now, when you're walking...
I have to say, there are a ton of dogs in coats.
They all have coats. Wait till they start having boots. Do they have boots, too?
Well, they have boots, and I'll tell you, if I could get those little disposable rubber boots on Ernie, I'd put them on because of the salt on the sidewalk.
Yeah. But you can also wipe him off as soon as...
I can also just train him to walk in the snow along the side, which he wants to do anyway.
Yeah. But, I'm thinking...
He sat down twice this morning to remove salt from his foot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if they start licking and it's not a good kind of salt, that's not good for him.
No.
I mean, there's stuff that's...
No, I run right over and take care of it myself and then wash his foot in the snow. So basically now he just sits down and holds up his foot.
But I just find all these...
Really good at that.
Yeah.
Because the difference between shake and high five, I just want to say.
The dogs wearing coats just is ridiculous to me. Some dogs have rain gear. They've got winter wear. They've got an entire wardrobe.
Well, I'm even beginning to understand the rain gear a little bit because when you're living in the city in a small space and you bring a wet dog into your house, it makes a huge mess. So if you can take off the raincoat and have a dry dog.
All right. That's a good argument. A good argument.
Right. I think that makes more sense than the warm
winter
coat
stuff
for dogs.
Yeah.
But again, I have to say that most of the dogs that I see wearing coats are short hairs. But when I see a dog with a huge natural head of hair
and then a coat on top of it,
and they're all tricked out, I'm just
it's ridiculous.
I'm just saying no. And then there are the dogs at the dog park that will that think it's their job to undress the poor dogs that are being humiliated with clothes. So they'll just go in and rip them off.
Oh, Lord. Well...
It is an unfair advantage in a dog fight, if you know what I mean, because the dog can just grab onto the coat and drag the other dog all over the place.
It's like, grabbing the face mask in football.
But there ain't no rules in the dog park.
No rules in the dog park.
But they're the dog's rules.
Yes. Kind of.
Like, never mind your master in front of other people. Or you will lose face at the dog park. Never return a ball that your owner throws because it's only to get other dogs to chase you.
Well... God bless dogs.
Let me say, this is all a whole lot cuter when there isn't, a half foot of snow and it isn't 17 below with wind chill.
Yeah, you're in a cold place, and we're about to be.
I was the only one at the dog park yesterday. I was thinking, wusses.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's going to be cold. So anyway, enough of this.
Enough of that chatter.
Enough.
That's how I'm fine. That's the level upon which I am now living my life. Very
Right.
small things. My dog.
That's it. No, and I think
I had dinner with my grandchild.
There you go.
And he sat on my lap, and wore my jewelry, and we had a very good time.
small pleasures, small, perfect, wonderful pleasures, the important stuff. Meanwhile, while the world continues to careen out of control. Wait, I do have one other thing to avoid all this. This is just a little teeny headline that was in our local paper the other day. I literally pulled a scrap. You can't even see this scrap out of the paper because I was intrigued. and I want you to explain it. It says, I don't have the whole, I literally cut it in half, so I don't have the entire headline, but I think it says, I know it says, bed bug discovered at Kappa 6 through 12. Kappa is the creative arts performing arts high school here. Bed bug discovered. Now, I got to tell you.
You think there should be an S there?
Well, it's not even just that. It's like, Kappa is a very large building. They found how do you find I mean, it just, so they called in, they were in spraying insecticide all over the place, blah, blah, blah. How do you find one bed bug? You're not even looking for a bed bug. How do you
somebody sees the bug and goes, by George, that's a bed bug. I don't know. But I will say that, or someone got bit and then saw a bug. There is an issue with that on certain of the city buses in Chicago. And they're complaining about it. You're making me sit in on a seat that has, somehow gotten bed bugs in it. I think it's a garbage truck, and they got in the garbage and came into the cab.
Yeah.
And these poor guys have to sit there, and wait for the city to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, I myself would never find a bed bug. I just want you to know I ain't even sure what they look like, but that somebody found a bed bug. Anyway, the big news, Susan, right now is that although our soon-to-be president does not have time for security briefings...
Well, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, that's what he says. I'm a smart guy.
I don't need to be told the same thing every day.
Okay. So he did have time today to meet with Kanye West.
Oh, of course. Well, Conway needs his love.
Kanye?
I said Kanye.
I thought you said Conway.
I said he needs his love and support now.
What?
Well, Kanye's had a bad run.
Well, I know Kanye's had a bad run, and in fact, he's been, let out of the psych ward.
Yeah, his meds got screwed up.
He's been let out of the psych ward. He's not even living with Ms. Kim at the moment because he's dealing...
She doesn't want her kids around him.
Who the hell knows? Kanye West is...
Looks like all of those times when he jumped on the stage and tried to do someone else's speech and went off on rants about the wonderfulness of him. Gee, you mean that's a textbook case of mania?
And the person you just described, it actually sounds like somebody Donald Trump would take as a brother from another mother.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that he's more manic than Trump is. Trump is just an egomaniac, which is different. I think Kanye is actually, got an issue here.
Yeah, well, clearly he does. But why would? I mean, it's despicable. It just makes me vomit.
Well, because I don't know what... You have to stop being endlessly surprised. I find in all the news today that bothered me the most was the decision by the judge in Denver that said that the Electoral College had to vote the way the voters told them to vote.
Yeah.
And which seems to me to be precisely against the whole point
of the Electoral College.
Right, as one of the lawyers for the losing side said, well, if he's concerned about the voters of the country losing their voice, then Hillary won. And you don't need the Electoral College. But if the Electoral College is supposed to do its job, then its job is to save the country from exactly this situation, which is to defy the voters. When the voters
go, when the voters go nuts, to save the republic, right?
And the judge says, well, that would be,
But does that his ruling applies only to Colorado electors?
It applies. It's a forerunner for how other states
will now
will look at this, because there are at least 10 other states or so that have the same rule that the electors have to vote.
Yeah.
the way the vote came. And this is really about Hillary electors that want to be able to vote for, for someone other than Trump but not Hillary, like Mitt Romney. They're just trying to salvage something.
It really is unbelievable that a guy is about to become president, that the vast majority of Americans do not want to be president, that almost 3 million more Americans said we do not want this guy to be president.
That refuses to do anything
the work
he is supposed to do.
Right.
You heard
Preparing.
that he postponed his
Yeah.
great speech on divestiture. He's going to give us his tax returns, and we're going to see his medical report, too.
Oh, yeah, right. I believe that. And he's not going to divest himself of his business dealings,
No,
quite
he's
clearly.
Give it to his boys. That's a real blind trust.
Yeah, that's
and
incredible.
They aren't going to talk to their father about it. Not at all.
It's just, he's already committed a number of impeachable offenses.
That's right. And he has, in every single case, appointed the Fox
to guard the hen house.
Take control of the hen house.
Yeah, right.
It's literally, it's like a joke.
It is like a joke. It's like a joke.
That's why
Find me the most.
Live did Bryan Cranston,
for the DEA. It's if you didn't see Saturday Night Live, they taking this to this logical conclusion had Trump getting Walter White, who was the meth manufacturer in Breaking Bad, appointed to head the DEA. The Perry appointment is now official. Perry will head the agency he couldn't even remember existed, but he knew he wanted to destroy it during one of the debates. And let's talk about this woman who's going to be in charge of our education systems.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, Suz, I want to ask you something about this, because last time we were talking, you were absolutely certain that it is against the law for taxpayer dollars to go to private or parochial schools, right?
Pretty much.
Well, listen to this.
Somebody might be allowing it, but it's...
No, but listen. That's what vouchers are doing.
Well,
Suz.
That's the argument against vouchers.
Yeah, but listen to this, because this is the kind of thing she wants. She's really into vouchers. Now, the other guy really into vouchers is soon to be our vice president, Mike Pence. And as governor of Indiana, he created a voucher program. This is from the New York Times today, that now funnels $135 million a year to private schools, almost all of them religious. That's Indiana taxpayers' dollars being funneled through voucher programs to mostly religious private
religious schools.
Well,
I don't understand why anybody hasn't sued.
So you say it just seems totally unconstitutional on its face.
Yeah.
Well, but if it were, then somebody would have sued.
Well, I don't know how to explain it, but if they're going to allow it, it's the death of public education. Did you hear my dog?
Are you kidding? The baying of the hounds. Yeah.
There he goes. I don't know what he's doing out there.
Well, he's
standing on my 6 square feet of
backyard
baying.
So anyway, I just want to, because we're talking about how, the fox being put in charge of the hen house, and in regard to the soon-to-be Secretary of Education. By the way, do you know about her? I listened to a speech that she gave a few years back. It was chilling. It was chilling. She was talking to a bunch of crazed Christian activist types. And she kept talking about vouchers and how you have to do this kind of thing because it will, what's the phrase? It blew my mind. I never heard of such a thing. Here it is. Advance God's kingdom. It will lead to greater...
Okay, so what about...
Wait. Greater
institutional use of taxpayer dollars if that's the goal?
It can lead to greater kingdom gain. Can you imagine talking about...
Could. You're stealing taxpayers' dollars and giving them to your church. I don't know what to say about this other than it is just flat out.
It's happening all over. So somebody, there must...
And it will be the death of public
That's
education.
true.
What really gets me upset is when you put someone who has never used a public school, who has never set foot inside a public school, and who thinks she knows all about public schooling, and what she knows is that she wants to end it.
Well, she wants to end it because what they think is that our children are being brainwashed into godless secularism by public schools. And so you've got to finish them off.
So don't use them.
Well, they're not. They don't want to use them, but they want the taxpayers to let... So the voucher program is how they're going to do it. Jerry Falwell,
It will be a big victory. They've been trying to do this for years and years.
They're going to get so many big victories, it's a joke.
But what has held them back has always been this constitutional issue. It's not like I'm making it up.
Yeah, but Suz, obviously nobody in the state of Indiana was able to stop what's going on.
Maybe they agree with it. You don't know.
No.
They elected Pence.
No, the ACLU alone would not stand for it. There's something we're missing. Somebody, some court somewhere have let this one slide. This woman, this DeVos, however she pronounces it, was not Trump's first choice. You know who his first choice was?
Who?
He first offered the job to Jerry Falwell Jr.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he did. And he turned it down. Let me explain.
The head of the
Liberty
college that his own students,
Yeah, Liberty University, the largest Christian university in the nation. So, meanwhile, let's just understand who she is. Her father was ridiculously rich, made his money in auto parts. He used his money to help found the Family Research Council, which is one of the most vociferous anti-LGBT rights organization there is, but it's a good Christian organization. And she married a guy whose father was the founder of Amway.
Oh, good.
Which is essentially a pyramid scheme.
Right.
But they've done very well for themselves. And her brother is the founder of, get this, what's the name of the Eric Prince, Blackwater.
Oh.
The military contractor.
Right.
That's her brother. These are wondrous people. And she now is in a position to do what she has been trying to do forever, which is to advance God's kingdom through destroying public education.
Well, they all have to go through a confirmation process.
We've got to, you got to pick your fights, right?
Well, so far the Republicans are more concerned with the...
Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Anyone in their right mind is freaked about almost every single appointment here. It's beyond comprehension. Just beyond comprehension. Is there anybody left at Goldman Sachs? Or have they all been?
No, they're all now in the government business.
They're all in
helping the little guy.
Yeah, isn't that something? So they went from the horrible Goldman Sachs of the primaries and the election to
Those smart businessmen who
all are surrounding our new great leader. Incredible. Really incredible. Oh. Well, the more you learn about these people that he's appointed, the more horrific it becomes. It just is. I mean, if you read profiles on each and every one of them, yike. Roger writes, I thought I was getting over this stupid election, but I find myself in another funk. Well, join the crowd.
Right. I was just about to say, let's talk about my grandson some more.
Anyway, Roger says he started listening to me again as well as NPR. Despite grimacing every time I hear the Post-Gazette's name, I thought I was making progress. Oh, not PG. That's what he calls... he won't say the word Trump. I forget what PG stands for Trump. Trump's name mentioned. I thought I was making progress. Still have to turn down the volume when his voice is about to be broadcast. I feel the same way. And I will not be able to watch the inauguration.
Oh, no.
And you know what people are saying? A lot of people are saying, don't watch it. Boycott it. Do not turn it on. Make it the lowest rated inauguration in American history. It'll just freak him out. Right? What does he hate more than anything?
Get him in the ratings, boy. That's
bad ratings. So this is it. Do not allow any television in your home to be tuned.
You better make sure that you're boycotting. I mean, these little things. If he's actually going to produce Celebrity Apprentice, well, then we got to make sure that they're
don't watch that and get their advertisers. That's right.
Get the advertisers.
We got to fight in every damn way we can, even in ways that before we would say, "Oh, well, that's not." Any way you can.
Hit him where it hurts.
Yeah.
His wallet. And his ego.
Yeah. Back to Roger. I finally responded to my sister to let her know I'm not coming to the out-of-state family Christmas party. I made up a fairly decent excuse. Didn't want to tell her I'm about to declare war on Christians.
Well, you're cheering me up. I'm sorry you're having such a bad day, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah, and he continues. But I'm getting better until I heard our visiting chief financial officer talking over my cubicle wall, talking about how good things are going to get, and making fun of Hillary and Bernie people. Yeah, he's a successful middle-aged white guy. After restraining myself from jumping over the wall to beat the living crap out of him, I realized I'm still pretty messed up. Are there support groups for people like me? I bet there are.
I'm sure there are.
I'm so disappointed and angry, I'm almost paralyzed because I'm afraid to do something irrational and end up unemployed, arrested, or even dead. I'm so tired of being surrounded by dickheads and can't seem to face my evangelical family. I need a new tribe. Sorry. Aw, Roger.
That is, listen, I just want to say that is tough, that most of us manage to be surrounded by at least some like-minded people.
Well, Roger, I know, has a lovely wife who I've met, and I'm sure, he's got friends that are not like these people. You just need to
hang on tight.
Yeah, hang on tight. Jesus. Come on, Roger, you can do it. And if all else fails, I recommend marijuana. Well, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, that'll cheer you up. Or make you an anxious wreck.
Yeah, or make you paranoid. But whatever. NP writes, school choice is constitutional at the federal level and in most states, as long as policies and programs are designed properly. In 2002, the U.S. Supreme Court answered this constitutional question at the federal level. In the landmark Zellman versus Simmons-Harris case, the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of Cleveland's school voucher program by, here's a shocker, a 5-4 vote. The justices made it very clear that when an individual uses public funds to make a private choice, in this case, when a parent uses a voucher to send his or her child to private school, including religious schools, it does not violate the First Amendment.
Well, if they say so, it sure as hell does.
Yeah, on its face. Chief Justice William Rehnquist explained in the majority opinion that voucher programs, such as Cleveland's, are, quote, neutral in respect to religion because they provide assistance directly to a broad class of citizens who in turn direct government aid to religious schools wholly as a result of their own genuine and independent private choice. Hence, if a school choice program allows, quote, true private choice, and if it claims it is, quote, religiously neutral, then it's constitutional.
Well, that's certainly a circular argument.
It's the law of the land. So, tax dollars have all...
The argument totally avoids the actual issue.
Well, Susan, you can argue, but that's settled law. Obviously, the ACLU lost that one with that court. Meanwhile, back at the court, Planned Parenthood is, on day one of this new Congress, is going to get defunded.
Good Lord.
40% of Planned Parenthood's budget money comes from federal funds, mostly through Medicaid reimbursement. Most of the people that come are poorer people. They're on Medicaid. This is their way of getting... And now if they are unable to, if their Medicaid won't be reimbursed, not only is Planned Parenthood screwed, but all those women are screwed.
Right.
Where are they going to get care?
If you think that you can go to just any OBGYN and hand them your Medicaid card,
no.
You're living in a different world.
Right.
I mean, you can barely go to any doctor and hand them your Medicare
card. Yeah, it's true. So, there you go. And I don't know what's going to happen if 40% of your income goes like that overnight. The consequences are
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Astonishing.
Childhood and women's death rates are going to go way up.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. People are going to die. Let's just cut to the chase. People are going to die.
Women. They're not going to get cancer screenings. They're not going to get
prenatal care.
They're not going to get prenatal care. They're not going to get contraceptive care. So you'll have more unwanted pregnancies. And you'll have probably more self-induced abortion, which will endanger women's health. It's mind-boggling. And I'll tell you what, if they get 2 more people on that court, the right to abortion is going to go down too. Roe v. Wade.
Well, at some point, we simply have to take to the streets.
Well,
I mean, next they're coming for my vote.
Wow. So listen to this one thing. This is fascinating. It was in the New York Times Sunday in an opinion section written by a woman named Hillary Rossner. She's a freelance reporter. She lives in Colorado. She and her husband and their family have been struggling to be able to insure themselves. He runs a small business but has no benefits. The two of them were rescued by the Affordable Care Act. But even then, that wasn't the greatest thing in the world. And she goes on to talk about what they're paying now, that their insurers have pulled out of the exchange, and they're, Obamacare is going down in one way or the other, right? I mean, it's just, right. So she says in 14 Colorado counties, there's only one insurance provider that offers plans under the ACA. So there's no, and they're expensive. Only one of our longtime doctors participates in any of these ACA plan and networks. And she says, I really support the Affordable Care Act. And she goes into these horror stories of what had happened before they had insurance. Then she heard of an option. And it would provide her and her husband a savings of $8,400 a year in health insurance costs. It'll cost only $500 a month. And that is if she purchases it. This is more of the same, Susan, more of the voucher-like stuff. If she purchases it from a faith-based plan called Altrua Health Share. And what this thing is, and there are others, is it allows people to voluntarily choose. It's essentially an insurance company. People pay in, and then...
You don't cover abortion or things like that. That's a faith-based...
right. Well, here's the quote from there. The purpose of the ministry is simply to organize other people who voluntarily choose to help fellow members pay their medical bills in keeping with biblical commandments to share one another's burdens. But it works like insurance.
Right. It is insurance.
It is insurance. Faith-based plans, and here's the thing. Listen to this. Faith-based plans do not adhere to the same rules as Obamacare insurance plans. They don't have to pay for preventive care. They don't. They can say, "I'm not insuring you. You're a smoker." They may not cover pre-existing conditions, and they may just deny you for whatever reason. And
well, but so for a person who has, who has existing medical issues that they are trying to get covered, then that doesn't work at all.
That is correct. Unlike other non-ACA compliant options, though, healthcare sharing ministries are actually exempt from the law. That means if you sign up for one, you aren't subject to fines for not getting insurance through. Anyway, while some health sharing ministries require membership in a Christian congregation, the one she was looking at, Altrua Health Share, does not.
Well, I mean, what does that mean? You just send $100 to a participating church and you're done.
Here's the catch. She says, in order to join, you have to agree to a statement of standards. Among the list of 7 principles are these 3. According to the Word of God, sexual relations outside the bond of marriage is morally wrong. Marriage is a bond between a man and woman only. And abortion is wrong except in a life-threatening situation to the mother.
A liberal of them.
So you have to agree to all those things. So here's this woman's writing, and she's saying, the last time I checked, premarital sex, same-sex marriage, and abortion are all legal in the United States. Still, I considered consenting to their standards for the sake of my family's financial situation. Imagine if we could put money away for college tuition or pay down our credit card debt instead of sending thousands of our dollars to a giant corporation. What if I swallowed my principles and with some of the money saved sent a contribution to Planned Parenthood as penance?
Well, first of all, she'd be lying. I mean,
She can't do it. She said, in the end, I couldn't do it.
no.
Also, Ultra would not have paid maternity benefits if the pregnancy arose through adultery or fornication.
Well, how are they going to know?
Exactly. For those on the religious right, their beliefs grant them exemption from federal law and access to decent, affordable health care. Unfortunately, there's no such loophole for clean living, charitable non-believers. This country,
so take a page out of the book and make, and create a group. I mean, that's all they're doing.
well, yeah, it has to be faith. It has to be faith-based, I think.
Well, become a universal life minister and have a church that believes in freedom of choice.
Oh, Jesus. What is happening?
Well, it's why we need a single-payer system.
Our country is just...
What's happening is that the greedy are winning in all of their different forms.
Mm-hmm. So Bob Dylan didn't show up.
No.
Did you read his speech? I read his speech. It wasn't great. Somebody read it. Who's that?
That's the kitty.
Oh, that's the cat.
That's the cat that just jumped on my lap and put her nose to my nose and said, meow, meow. Sorry, I am living in a menagerie.
Yeah, I know you are. It's okay. It's good. It's good. Anyway, so his speech wasn't all that great, I thought, but he was nice in it, and he says, not once have I ever had the time to ask myself, are my songs literature? So I do thank the Swedish Academy both for taking the time to consider that very question and ultimately for providing such a wonderful answer. And I guess, so some bureaucrat read the speech. I thought Patti Smith was going to, but she just performed, I think...
it's a Hard Rain.
Hard Rain with a symphony. Oh, God, I bet it was great.
And because it's an example of his poetry.
Yeah, exactly. And Hard Rain
and
is going to fall.
It was a wonderful performance, even though she repeatedly forgot the words.
Oh, so you saw that? I have to look that up then, because I just love her.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Okay, we got a call. Hello? We don't have a call?
Yes, you do.
Well, I'm so glad.
I didn't hear you say hello. I missed that part.
I might not have said it. I don't know.
Why does everything you're talking about this morning sound like we're heading down to become like a Christian version of a Muslim country?
Well, because we are.
Yeah.
Because we are, right.
Yeah, and when you tell people that, they don't see it.
No, because they're Christian.
What are Muslim schools called? Madrasas?
Madrasas.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like with the vouchers. Hey, they're turning them into madrasas.
You know what?
Huh?
You know what?
Huh?
Maybe this will make them think twice. We can... No one's willing to do it, but I mean, yeah, nothing's keeping them...
Voucher
and go to a madrasa.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That would be legal. Yeah.
That would be perfectly legal. Sharia law that they're concerned about will become legal.
Jeez.
If they want faith-based law, laws based on Christianity, why not Muslim?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they are faith neutral, then no. If someone can take it to their Christian church, someone can take it to, any place they want to go.
This is one of the big reasons that these, these real Orthodox Jews, are in love with the Christian right and the Republicans, because they use those vouchers to go to their...
I betcha they use those
vouchers. Yeah, they do. It's a huge drain. Did you see somebody in the Washington Post today suggested that the city of New York, through eminent domain, take Trump Tower?
I didn't see that. That's funny.
No, it's good. It's actually, she wrote a really funny thing about, you could easily... He loves using eminent domain and taking people's things and houses. And so, since it's costing the city taxpayers, who most assuredly did not vote for him, I guess in Manhattan the vote was 10-1 against Trump, and yet they're now having to foot a huge bill, A huge bill.
Yeah, a huge bill that it's YUGE, and Congress does not see fit to reimburse them the full amount. So I think they should just decrease the security to the amount that Congress gives. And if something happens, oh well.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You threw me off because I was going to say something else about, Hillary Clinton's line, "Stronger Together." Even that's is turning to be the opposite. Everybody's separating.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going into their own corners.
It's really something.
Yeah, we're going backwards.
Jeez. Well.
You remember that little thing I wrote called "Backwards"? Take our country back. Words. I wrote that a long time ago. It's like coming true.
Yeah, it's prescient. It was prescient. We're definitely heading on back.
Mm-hmm.
God.
I got to get me some ripped up jeans and some poor shoes. And start talking like this. "Hello, Lynn. Hello there. Yes, sir."
Jeez.
Y'all have a good day now. Yeah, man. Start shuffling.
Yeah. You work on that shuffle there, mister.
I will.
Okay.
I have a good day.
Bye. Bye. Son of a... Okay. I have one more happy thing to share. Did you see this new book about Hitler? Really?
No, I didn't see this new book about Hitler. Tell me about it.
Well, what's interesting is, you got to believe, God knows how many historians have tackled Hitler. But someone who I guess is mostly a novelist got intrigued by a remark that somebody made. He's a German. Some friend of his said that his grandfather, who'd been in the SS or something, said that Hitler's troops were totally drugged all the time.
Oh, right. It's all they were all on speed.
Meth. They were on speed. And he thought, what? I never heard of it. So of all the books that have been written, what? Nobody ever came up with this. So this guy starts looking. And you know what? Historians are now saying, geez, this guy's right. And one of the authors of several highly regarded books about World War II said this: it's a problem of specialization. No historian knows a lot about drugs, and when an outsider comes in with an open mind and a different interest, the results can be fantastic and very illuminating. So nobody is saying he's wrong. They're all saying, oh my God.
Right, because meth certainly would lead to more acceptance of the atrocious nature of what they were doing.
Yeah, that's right.
Atrocities.
And
it gives the brain permission to think up those things.
Right. We do hear of these horrible people in the Middle East and in Africa who use children, soldiers, keeping them drugged, so that they're just, they're able and willing to do anything. He talks about a certain battle at the beginning of the war that Winston Churchill was he himself, Churchill said in his memoirs, he was dumbfounded by what the German army was able to do. And because a German general actually said that his men had stayed awake for 17 straight days. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration.
But not much.
But the guy who writes this new book says, no, it's probably an exaggeration, but meth was crucial to that campaign and a lot of others. And it wasn't just, they were passing out these pills to the soldiers constantly. And Hitler's own physician, a guy named Morell, he was feeding Hitler all kinds of drugs. In the doctor's own notes, you see a regimen of injected vitamins, hormones, and steroids.
Oh, well, and we know what they do.
And starting in the summer of 1943, the doctor is shooting Hitler up with generous quantities of opioids. Says here that by 44, the doctor had trouble finding veins to shoot the drugs into Hitler. And then as the Allies bombed the factories that produced Germany's drugs, he had trouble finding the opiates. The guy who wrote this says, historians have tried to explain Hitler's tremors that started in about 45. They thought maybe he was suffering from Parkinson's.
You had drug withdrawal.
Yeah, and that's what this historian now comes up with. I wouldn't rule it out, but there's no proof of that. I think Hitler was suffering from withdrawal. Couldn't get his drugs. Isn't that... There you go. The soldiers were on meth. Hitler was on opioids and a million other drugs, steroids, all this other stuff. Wow. I wonder what Trump's on.
Yeah, don't you?
Yeah, I really do.
The thing
He
is,
doesn't sleep.
Right.
Right.
Well, he doesn't sleep, but
No.
he doesn't drink. You know, he's.
No, he doesn't drink. But
I don't know. You know, he just might be. You know, that just might be who he is.
wow. Chuck writes, Lynn, I'm going to turn on the inauguration, but only because Michael Moore is trying to organize a disruption during the event. I'll watch it later on the news if he pulls it
Right.
off.
Watch it later watch it later.
If he pulls it off, you'll see it. You can see it anytime you want. You don't have to watch in real time. Let's hope half of those folks attending are protesters. And also, Chuck writes, a few weeks ago you said something to the effect that Trump is a person who tends to hang on to the words and opinions of the last person to talk to him on any topic. So this morning on Morning Joe, they were speaking with someone who reported that Trump's staff jockeys to have Trump's last meeting slot every day because you have a better chance of influencing him.
Until the next morning.
Yeah. Isn't that something? He forgets. Even if you're the last one, he forgets.
Well, because he's not listening to you. He's not capable of concentrating for more than 10 minutes. At least that's what they keep saying.
Yeah, that's what everybody who knows him says. Oh, God. Well, let's cheer ourselves up with an obit. I got nothing else.
Oh, good. Who died?
A guy named Ken Heckler.
Who's Ken Heckler?
Well,
Is he the reason? Is he the first person to make fun of somebody in
no,
the Comedy Club?
because it's actually Hech. It might be Hetchler. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how he pronounces it. Cute guy. I'm looking at a picture of him sitting in a Jeep in 2010 when he would have been 96. He's 102. He was 102. He served in the Congress as a Democrat from West Virginia. Before he was a college professor at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. He had also been a best-selling author and a speechwriter for Harry Truman. And he ended up getting elected to Congress from West Virginia. And he was from Long Island. I mean, he wasn't even a local. And everybody said, there's no way West Virginians are going to vote for you. But he went everywhere. Organized labor was behind him. Not against him. The United Mine Workers were against him. He was a Democrat. All of the political organizations were against him, but he ended up winning. And this guy, what a wondrous being. We got a call, but I'll get back to him. What a great character. Whoa, yeah. So he served 9 terms in the House, and he fought to improve safety standards in coal mines, provide health benefits for miners with lung disease, and curb strip mining. Isn't that interesting? And the United Mine Workers were against him, the union.
Why?
Well, I wonder if it has anything to do with this. He was pals with a member of the United Mine Workers who was convinced that the union was corrupt as hell, and it was. And his name was Joseph Yablonsky. And that name really might ring a bell around these parts, because Yablonsky, who was challenging the president of the United Mine Workers for the presidency, at the time the president was Tony Boyle, Yablonsky lost the election, which was disputed, and then he, his wife, and his daughter were murdered in their home.
That's why I remember the name.
Near Pittsburgh. Yeah. And convicted of the murder, the former president, Boyle. He ordered the killings. Can you imagine? This makes me think, I'm going to digress, because I saw that the Democrats were holding up, the budget or the Republicans allowed funding the government for another 4 months the other day somehow, and the Democrats were freaking out about 2 things. Here's the 2 one of the things I know was they said they were going to maybe shut the government down. The Democrats were saying, taking a page out of the Republicans' playbook, if the Republicans took out a measure which would continue to fund the pensions of all these old coal miners. Now stop and think, Susan. Here were the Democrats fighting to the teeth to protect coal miners, when coal miners overwhelmingly voted for the Republicans,
right,
who immediately turned around and wanted to take it away. And they were voting. Also, there was another issue that had to do with working class people's protections. And the Democrats, just the other day, guys, went to the mat in Congress because the Republicans were about to screw the little guy again. Do the little guys pay any attention?
No, apparently not.
Wouldn't you think? I mean, here again, so the United Mine Workers at that point, this corrupt union, are against this one guy in Congress, a Democrat, who's trying desperately to help the coal miners. And it's like people don't even acknowledge the work that Democrats have done for these people, the very people who are benefiting from their work. They turn around and vote for people who are going to undo all of it.
Right, well, they think their union did it. And usually it would have been the union lobbying that got it done, but apparently not in this case.
Well, anyway, Ken Heckler.
That's the point. That's the argument for the existence of unions.
Mm-hmm. Ken Heckler was a champion of civil rights. He was the only member of Congress to join Dr. Martin Luther King in the 65 Voting Rights March from Selma to Montgomery. He was the only member of Congress. And he said just 3 years ago, when he was 99, It's one of the proudest things I've done in my checkered life. So he went back to teaching after he left Congress, and then he served 4 terms as West Virginia's Secretary of State. He was arrested at the age of 97, taking part in protests at Massey Energy. That's a big coal miner, son of a bitch, who was responsible for the deaths of a lot of miners. He's now doing time in jail, too. Massey Energy facilities in West Virginia to oppose their strip mining. He was arrested on charges of impeding traffic, obstructing a police officer when he's 97. And then at 98, in 2013, he married the woman he had lived with for much of his life. At 98, he married her.
No good. There are good reasons to do that.
And she does survive him. When he was on recess from Congress, he sometimes took jobs, like working class jobs, so he'd understand how people... He worked as a waiter at a restaurant in some little town in West Virginia during one congressional recess. What a guy. And I think he served as the West Virginia Secretary of State until he was well into his 90s.
Wow.
George Heckler, in a wonderful Democrat in a state that now is as solidly Republican as a state can be, when the only thing that they ever got came from Democrats. The only progress that any progress, any safety concern, all that, nothing came from Republicans, and yet they vote Republican. Why? Why?
Don't ask me.
All right. Tim writes, have you heard anything about protests at the inauguration? I haven't.
No, I haven't either.
I've
just learned how much money is pouring in to give him the best, inauguration ever.
Oh, God. Here, top 10 signs that a U.S. president is a Russian agent.
Well,
shall we check? Yeah.
This isn't funny.
No, it's not. It's not! Here they are. 1.
He's too stupid to even know it.
Here are the telltale signs that a U.S. president might be a Russian spy. Number 1, U.S. intelligence concludes that the Kremlin helped put him in power. Number 2, the new president sides with the Kremlin against the CIA. And number 3, he receives vast sums of money from mysterious Russians. Right. Number 4, his election suddenly makes a lot of people rich in Moscow. Number 5, he wants to end Russia's global isolation. Number 6, he surrounds himself with known Russian agents and sympathizers. Number 7, he repeatedly refuses to criticize the Kremlin. Number 8, he immediately drives a wedge between the United States and Russia's chief Asian rival, China. Number 9, he also undermines NATO. And 10, oh yeah, and he once marketed his own brand of vodka. Well, gee whiz. Yeah?
The fact that I am glad that the Republican Congress is at least a little bit concerned about this. But
a little.
Honestly, this is just amazing.
It is amazing. It's amazing, and it's the largest threat to our country, I think, ever. Certainly in the last 100 years. I mean, other than Hitler. I don't know what else could be. It's beyond belief. Oh well, Susan, as I was saying yesterday, unbelievable, unprecedented. These are the words that we will be using. We're going to wear them out. Wear them out. All righty. Well,
It's made me a religious person, and I'm praying all the time.
Yeah.
It's so far not working, but I'll keep at it.
You never know.
Yeah.
Although I have to tell you that in reading this stuff about all the, like the education secretary and all these lunatic Christian fascists, one of the things they said, some big guy said, Trump was not our candidate, but he is God's candidate.
Ugh. I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I don't understand anything much anymore. Okay, well, that's that, and wasn't that fun? And stay warm.
Another hour.
Yeah, stay warm, and believe
I'm
me,
gonna go kiss the animals.
Yeah, play with the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong.
They didn't do anything wrong. Okay, Suz.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hang in there.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
All of us just hang in there. Hang together, or we'll all hang separately. See ya.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.